Did you enjoy Invincible Season 4? Tell me about it. What'd you like? Alright. That's cool. Alright, shut up. So Season 4 of Invincible. It's my turn to talk. I would have to say, in a rankings, I would say it would be Season 3 and Season 1 are interchangeable. Season 4, Season 2. That's how I would go. Season 4 was great. I really enjoyed it, especially the latter half of Season 4. But it just doesn't measure, it doesn't amount to what was going on in 1 and 3. By far the best moment was when Conquest and Mark were fighting. Invincible versus Conquest was by far the best moment of the season. I think I rewatched that fight like twice already. Then after that, I would say it's when Thragg finally awokened or whatever, and we finally saw his true form, because as we know, before that, I'm pretty sure every single one of us thought this dude was about to be a bum. Not in terms of like power, but in terms of like intimidation, because we see all the little aura clips on TikTok, and we see how auriful Thragg is, where he just goes down, he's like, yes, we are here, and we hear Ryan Hurst's Thor voice from God of War placed over Thragg, and we're just like, man, this guy Thragg's not amounting to nothing. And then finally we see him talking about, I choose death, and then he comes through, busts through the boulder, busts through the asteroid or the crater or the meteor, and rips Thaddeus' head off. And then we're like, okay, you know what, maybe I spoke too soon. I mean, I know I spoke too soon, but I'm pretty sure everybody was thinking the same thing. But other than that, it was just kind of you know, especially with the animation, which I'm about to get to, because it's the biggest factor in this show. And I'm gonna sound like a broken record. It's probably redundant hearing about Invincible's animation, but it's such a large factor that could be easily avoidable that I can't not bring it up. Now, we've all seen Invincible's animation, and we know that it's generally pretty bad, okay? It's just generally, it looks like a bunch of PNGs moving. We know this already. This is case in point. But we also know that it's not because they hired some broke bum animators, it's because they have no time, and I guess, my guess is not enough funds, because we look at the cast for Invincible, and it is star-studded. And I'm not just talking about the main cast. There are like tiny little roles here and there played by very famous actors. Now I'm going to read some of these famous celebrities, and I'm going to tell you they're only going to be celebrities that appeared in like 1 or 2 or 3 episodes playing the most minor characters. Starting with Ella Purnell, who played Jane. Do you know who Jane is? No, most likely you don't. I'm pretty sure this is the girl that goes to the tomb with the sexist mummy thing that tries to possess people. Another one, John Hamm. He plays Steve in 2 episodes. Do you know who Steve is? I'll tell you who Steve is. It's some random bodyguard that was guarding a government building in the first episode of Invincible before the Mauler twins showed up, and the Guardians of the Globe followed the Mauler twins. That's Steve. He was one of those 2 people. I wouldn't have known, because that's a forgettable character. But John Hamm, he's a pretty famous actor. A lot of people know who John Hamm is. I know who John Hamm is. He should not be playing a minor character. He was most likely expensive. Bruce Campbell, he plays Satan. Why is Bruce Campbell playing Satan? This guy's a famous actor too. And I'm 2 more. Winston Duke and Simu Liu. I hope I'm saying his name right. But they play Space Racer, and then the one dude that came from the future, the twins that came from the future, picked up Mark and then, you know, took him back to the future so that they could save their world back in season 3. These guys are famous, very famous actors playing very minor characters with very little dialogue. They are going to be expensive because of their fame. Their notoriety, it props up your value a lot, especially when you're good at your job. They should not be playing characters with minor and little dialogue. They should not be playing minor characters with little dialogue. You're not going to see people complain about Mark or Omni-Man or Debbie or any of them, because those are very prominent characters that have a lot of dialogue, so you want to have a good voice actor. Steven Yeun, he's a very good voice actor. Omni-Man, J.K. Simmons, he's a very good voice actor, but I think his price might be a little cheaper, because I think he's is a pretty prominent voice actor. He does a lot of work. By the way, those are celebrities that are playing very prominent main characters. These guys are playing very tiny minor characters with very little dialogue. And those are just a couple of names. There's a lot more on that list that I did not want to bring up because I don't want to drag this out for too long, but they spend a lot of money on these people because there's no way these actors are cheap, especially knowing how big they are. They're not cheap at all, but they're spending a lot of money on characters that have very little dialogue and very little appearances as well. They should not be doing that. On top of that, they need to extend the time between seasons so that we can get proper animations, because it's ridiculous seeing how sometimes we'll get a very well animated fight and then we'll get something like Alan versus those two Viltrumites where it'll just look like absolute crap. I'm sorry, it just did not look good. The impact of the punches, it was like a bunch of pillow fights. It was like how Naoya was fighting Maki. There was nothing, there was no impact. It didn't even look like Alan should have been getting hurt there. It was kind of ridiculous. Like, I understand Robert Kirkman, he wants these seasons out like sequentially, yearly I should say. He wants them out year by year, which I do enjoy. I enjoy each season no matter how bad the animation can be. I really do enjoy it, but I am willing to wait an extra year or two to get another season, knowing how good the animation can be. I'm willing to sit through the wait. There's other people out there, they're going to complain. I remember seeing a quote, somebody showed me a quote of the director of Invincible saying, oh, they didn't want to hear the complaints. People were going to complain about the wait, the 3-year wait between seasons. That's natural. JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen, has a 3-year wait between each season. Obviously with season 3 and 4 it's going to be different because it's 12 episodes, but between season 1 and 2 there was a 3-year wait, and then between season 2 and 3 there was a 3-year wait, and look how the animation that we have gotten. So we are willing to wait the 3 years in order to get a good product in animation, especially something like Invincible where it's primarily action. We want good action, we want good lighting, we want good composition, and we can see little tidbits of that here and there. It is possible to get those good compositions and good fighting and good action and good choreography, but they don't have the time. The animators do not have the time to give that to us. Another problem that with Invincible that I have is the power scaling, which is another problem that has been brought up talks, especially after season 4, where somebody will do something and then it'll backtrack. Like we see Mark fight Conquest, right? He beats Conquest. Without even throwing a punch, he kills Conquest. He's supposed to be the second strongest Viltrumite. So why is Mark going to Anissa, fighting Anissa, and not beating her ass instantly? That should not happen with somebody that just choked out Conquest and beat Conquest without throwing a single punch. But I'm not going to just complain. I do want to address a lot of the things that I love about Invincible. First of all, the storytelling. I really do enjoy the storytelling of Invincible, especially from Mark's perspective. That final episode, I'm going to bring it up again. I really loved sitting through that final episode and watching how Mark's mind was operating after interacting with Thragg for the very first time. That was phenomenal. I know in the comics, I'm pretty sure they did it a little bit differently, I've heard. I think that what they did in the show was amazing. I thought they did a great job putting Mark's character into perspective, and I hope we see some more stuff like that in the future in season 5, which is unfortunately coming out next year instead of a couple years. I also really love how they're doing Omni-Man's character, especially when he comes back to Earth. Those are some of my favorite scenes when it's not fighting, of course. Those are some of my favorite scenes, especially when he's interacting with the people that he hurt in season 1. Those are some beautiful things, and I love how they're not afraid to stand up to him and let him know that we are not going to forgive you easily at all, because you caused a lot of harm to our planet. You killed a lot of people, you hurt a lot of people, not only physically but emotionally. You traumatized millions, obviously. Well, maybe not millions, like thousands of people you have traumatized. You need to know the weight of your actions, so we're not going to just welcome you back in open arms. But I like how they're portraying that, but then we see Omni-Man's frustrations outside of that. Like, he's clearly trying to do good. He's lived for 1,000 years. He doesn't understand human emotions as well as everyone else because he's lived for 1,000 years. Another character, Debbie. I love how motherly she is towards not only Mark but Oliver. Despite Oliver not being her biological son, she still cares for him just as much as she cares for Mark. I love her relationship with her two boys, and I love how mature and independent she is. I like how she doesn't have as much emotional reliance on other people. She can take care of herself. Even if she even if she breaks down sometimes, she still comes back up, and she's very mature. And not only that, but she was willing to stand up to Omni-Man. And a part of me hopes that they kind of don't get back together. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be surprised. I'd be shocked if she goes back to him after what he did, especially being called a pet. It'd be a little bit better, or it'd be a little bit better if she doesn't go back to Omni-Man and she just stays friends with him in some capacity. Because somebody that hurts you as bad as Omni-Man hurt her, I feel like it'd be a little crazy if she went back to him, like how she does, from what I've heard in the comics. Alright, the last character I'm going to talk about is not going to be Invincible, by the way. I'm not going to talk about him. I've already expressed my enjoyment. I love his character arc. I liked his bad boy to good boy to bad boy back to good boy arc. I thought that was magnificent, but I'm not going to spend too much time on him because I've already mentioned him here and there. Who I haven't mentioned enough is Thragg. I was not feeling Thragg at the beginning of the season. Like many other people, he just was not coming off as intimidating to me as those TikTok or farm edits were making him out to be. Especially with the voices that they were putting and the way that Ryan Otley designed his character. It was just a drastic difference between those edits and the comic book look between what we got in the show. And I wasn't feeling it at first, but episode 7 really saved his character for me, and it really saved episode 8 for me, because if I would have seen Thragg without seeing episode 7, or if episode 7 hadn't existed and we saw him in episode 8 being just coming down and saying, yes, we are here, I wouldn't have felt nothing, because I'm already like, man, this guy's a bitch. Like, who cares about him? We saw him in episode 6, cradling his little baby skull. Like, that was nothing. But episode 7 really saved him for me. Not only did the voice acting get better, but we really saw the intimidation of his character, and it really made me think about how Thragg should be. He should not be like God of War Thor. Okay, everybody wants him to be God of War Thor. He's beastful, he's rageful, he just wants to kill everything. That is not how Thragg should be, especially as a Grand Regent. He leads an entire army of super soldiers. He's not going to be going out throwing them all willy-nilly all over the place because out of spite, out of rage. He's calculated. He's trying to take over the entire universe, but he's not trying to do it in a way where he wants to take over the world. He wants to do it in a way where he's spreading his Viltrumite love. If somebody that was super rageful had that type of character, it would not align at all. So I thought about it and I was like, yeah, Thragg being calm does make sense, and it definitely makes his angry moments a lot scarier. Somebody that is very calm and collected getting upset like Thragg was, like, that's gonna freak you out a little bit. Like, when Thragg started crying and then pulled up on Thaddeus, it's like, oh wow, this guy, he was super calm a couple seconds ago, now he's killing everybody. Maybe we should start taking him a little more serious. Maybe we should back off a little bit. You know, now I understand why Oliver was thinking the way he did at first. Like, oh, I don't see how he lives up to the hype. Because, yeah, I mean, you saw him cradling little baby skulls in the sky and then running away from the coalition of planets on their turf, on Telestria. So I would have thought the same thing. So it seemed like they were kind of going for that flow of dumbing him down a little bit just to make episode 7 a little bit more like, whoa, like what the hell is going on here? I mean, that's probably how they did it in the comics, but like even in the comics he looked a little more intimidating, cradling that little baby skull. So now, because of those episodes that really saved his character, I really am excited to see what happens in the future with him. I want to see more of him. I want to hear more of him. I just want to see him fight, but I also want to see him command and lead, and I'm excited to see all of that. Also, last person, I know I didn't say, I know I said Thragg was our last person, but Oliver, just talk to me, man. What's going on? Why are you being stupid all the time? Okay, one of the commenters said that you don't listen. You need to learn you don't know how to learn. And I agree with that commenter. You need to learn how to learn. You need to learn how to learn your lesson, Oliver, because you got your ass beat twice by the same person, and you still was going crazy. And I don't mean going crazy like you were going crazy, like, oh, you're going crazy, like how Thragg was going crazy. That's not how you were going crazy. You were going crazy like a little whiny baby, like, you know, throwing a tantrum and shit. What the hell were you doing? Okay, they said, don't go after Thragg by yourself. What did you do? You went after Thragg by yourself. Despite, like, you need to chill. A lot of people are comparing Oliver to Toto from JJK. They're like, oh, well, Toto pulls up on every fight that he sees. Nobody centers him. That's because Toto wins his fights. And he's not stupid. He knows when to help out his team. Oliver was being selfish, and he was going after Thragg in pride. So I'm sorry. I'm not spending too much time on Oliver. I don't want to slander him too much, but you need to tee the hell up. You need to train, or you need to stop being stupid. That's just how it is. Tech Jacket, on the other hand, I was slandering her too. Unfortunately, she does not deserve as much slander because she knows how to play smart. Oliver does not know how to play smart. He's not only is he weaker than everybody else, but he's a dumbass. But that's enough of that. Invincible Season 4, good season, definitely worth a watch, but I think they need to just space out the timing between seasons a lot more, because the animation could most definitely be peak. We could have an amazing story paired with amazing animation, rather than an amazing story paired with mid to bad animation, despite like little good moments here and there. We could get the best of both worlds, rather than just only the best of one. So that's all I have to say. Season 4 was great, third best season, and that's not because the season was worse, it's just the other ones were better, if you catch my drift, if you know what that means. I'm gonna see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!